Hey and welcome to Simple Happy Zen, it's Vera and today we are talking about overcoming perfectionism. I consider myself to be a recovered perfectionist and it definitely took me some time and some practice to get to this point where I am now, where it's no longer hindering me or my life. And it feels really good, so I'm going to share exactly what I did with you in this video to let go of perfectionism, so hopefully it can help you to start doing the same. Perfectionism is not always a bad thing, and there are actually two kinds of perfectionism, adaptive and maladaptive. People with adaptive perfectionism have high standards, but they're still realistic, and they're also able to work hard and excel and complete tasks in good time. They can tackle projects that require lots of time and effort and focus. People with maladaptive perfectionism are very self-critical and they feel constant pressure to meet an unrealistic standard, and sometimes they can suffer from anxiety and even depression because of it. Now there is a spectrum between these two, and most people experience some benefits from their perfectionism as well as some issues from it, and that's where I want to focus this video on today, so that perfectionism will no longer be holding you back in life, whether it's about work for you or some kind of personal project or your appearance. Now for most people, being a perfectionist causes two big problems. The first is not being able to stop working on something because it needs to be perfect. So everything ends up taking a lot of time and you're not able to finish and move on. The second problem is not being able to start something at all, and you keep procrastinating because the task seems monumental and you know that the end result will not be as perfect as the version you have in your head, or you're afraid that you'll make mistakes. These two things were an issue for me as well in the past, and so I'm going to share some tips that I did for both of these that helped me to overcome perfectionism. The first thing that helped me to understand how to finish things more quickly and move on is something called Parkinsons Law, and this means that the amount of time we set for something is the amount of time it will take. So our work will expand as to fill the time available for its completion. So if we set a deadline for a month, then the project will take you about a month to finish. But if we give ourselves a year, then it will take about a year. And this really hit home for me. When striving for something to turn out perfectly, we give ourselves so much time to keep improving and tinkering and perfecting. And so with perfectionists, this can be very dangerous because we can end up never finishing something. So the tip here is to set clear deadlines for yourself and set time limits. Short story time. I remember when I was working as a project manager and me and my colleague were asked to give a presentation to a bunch of people who made up the board of the company. So it was kind of a big presentation. And I saw her working on hers days and days. I remember her sweating and she never got to feeling confident about it. And suddenly she asked me, how long did you take for preparing your presentation? And I said, I don't know, maybe 3-4 hours, something like that. And she looked at me like I was crazy. And we both went up there. I was feeling pretty confident. And I remember she was still feeling like her presentation wasn't perfect enough to share. And she was so nervous. I remember trying to make her feel better, but it almost wasn't possible. And my presentation also wasn't perfect, of course, but it was perfectly fine. And I got great feedback from the listeners. They were really happy with it. So this was a big confirmation for me that this is the way that I wanted to go forward. Done is better than perfect. And when you give yourself too much time for something, you will never be able to finish it. And the second tip is the 80% rule, and I've talked about this in a previous video before, but I didn't really explain it enough in that video. So let me explain what I mean by doing things on 80% mode, or working on things until they're 80% perfect, or 4 out of 5 stars if you will, and then move on. So someone in the comments of that video, they asked me, well, if I knit a sweater and I stop at 80%, then it's obviously not going to be finished. So what do you mean? And I love this question. And what I mean is that perfectionists often spend most of their time and energy in the last 20% of something, because that's what it takes to make something go from good to perfect. They work out all the little details, and perfectionists often spend about 80% of their time working on the last 20% of something. And that is a big waste of time for a lot of things, because we could have done so much other things with that time. And being perfectionists, we have such high standards that our 80% is probably already really very good for other people. So those tiny little details that it takes to go from good to perfect, other people probably won't notice them. And so if we deliver a product that's 80% done or 80% perfect, it will mean that we deliver an end product that's already very good, and we also ended up saving a lot of time. So if you keep doing things on 80% mode, you will keep honing your skills, you will keep getting better and better because of it, and all without losing a lot of hours working out those last tiny details. So to summarize, set yourself time limits and decide to stop working on things when they're already very good, decide that that's finished, and move on to the next thing. Now let's talk about not being able to start something and procrastinating and being afraid to make mistakes. I used to have this quite a lot, being afraid to make mistakes. And the number one tip here is to try to learn to embrace mistakes, because they are vital to your learning process. And I've learned that trying new things and then making mistakes is what will make you better. And without making mistakes, only sticking to what you can safely do, you will never improve, you will never learn new skills and new things. So try to embrace them, know that they will happen, they're part of growing, and see them as chances for you to learn and hone your skills. Number two is breaking up a project into small, manageable tasks and just get started and allow yourself to make a mess. Don't worry about the state of the project that you're working on your first try. So for example, if you're writing something, then write for the bin. Write as if it is a rough first draft that you're not going to show anyone and that you're going to throw away later. Just try your best and see what comes out without judging its quality. Working agile means working in little tiny bits from the ground up and build from there. So instead of trying to make something perfect on a first try, we keep doing little things and improving them as we go along. And this will make the task seem way less daunting and overwhelming because we are working on small things at a time. And this is exactly what I did with my YouTube channel, because what I actually wanted to do is create high production value videos first and have like 10 of them ready and then launch the channel. But I reminded myself that if you're 100% proud of the earliest material that you put out there, you've probably waited too long. And so I just decided to put out videos every week that were the best that I could do at that time. And not knowing anything about making videos, the quality of those early videos were very different from the quality of my videos now. And my videos now probably look very different from the ones a year from now. But that's okay. I kept working on it. I kept learning new things with every video I put out. I kept getting better and better. And so if I had waited until I was where I am now, I would never have been able to start at all. This is my last tip for today, and I think this is the best one. So if you're only going to do one, then make it this one. And that is to try and learn where your perfectionism comes from. To look deep inside yourself and find out what causes you to be a perfectionist. Because for a lot of people, the underlying cause of perfectionism is some kind of fear. Maybe you've had certain experiences in your childhood where people placed extremely high expectations on you and you didn't want to let people down. Maybe you're afraid that people will reject you if they see your imperfections. Or maybe you're afraid that you'll lose your job if you make a mistake. So try to find out where it originates for you. If you understand what led you down the path of perfectionism, then you can learn to place less value in that and set a realistic thought against it. And this can really help to remove some of that burden and anxiety. I want to know, what is the one thing that you want to let go of your perfectionism for? Is it work? Is it a project? Is it your appearance? Let me know in the comments. I talk more about perfectionism and a mindset for success in this video, and I share 10 healthy habits for productivity in this video. And of course, click here to subscribe. As always, questions, comments, conversations down below, and I will see you all soon. Have a great day. Bye bye.